Hunters, thank you for joining us. I'm Joy.
And I'm Nora.
And this is The Witches of Letters, a supernatural rewatch podcast.
Buckle up as we dive into Season 5, Episode 12, Swap Meet.
So, right off the bat, this is going to be interesting, guys, because Laura was telling me. She didn't really love this episode necessarily, and I did love it. So I feel like we're going to come at it from very different angles.
Yeah. But as usual, I can't tell if I didn't like it just because I'm grumpy today. Well, yesterday when I wrote my notes. Or if it's just because I don't actually like it. So we'll see. As we go through, I will be like, oh, actually, I did like this part.
How much is sleep deprivation? How much is actual hatred? We'll find out today on the podcast.
Stay tuned to find out.
Oh my god. Okay. Speaking of staying tuned to find out, I have mailbag stuff.
Yay.
Woo! So, Beck wrote back. So Beck's at Bushel and Beck on Instagram and said, I love this whole note. Hi, I have so many things to say about the episode from yesterday. On a silly note, I just want to say I have the same type of autism you do, to me, obviously. Lol. And I was like, we're now best friends, Beck. You and I, simpatico. Best friends forever. Okay? Because Beck is replying to everything we said on Abandon All Hope, which is our previous episode to this episode.
Is this you singing to everything?
Yeah, my movie quote, and I must sing the song Autism. If any of you guys also have the same kind of autism, write in and let me know, because we'll be a cute little, 'twas the tism, my lord family. And it'll be adorable. So they write, number 1, I am so excited to see how Joy reacts to Crowley as we see more of his character. He is one of the most amazing characters in the show, and Mark Sheppard is so funny. You can see it from the first episode, but it gets so much better. And his relationship with Dean, oh my god, which I'm so excited too. This is one of my favorite character interactions that we see on Supernatural. I love the vibe as Crowley's on the show for longer between Crowley and Sam and Dean, because there is a whole distinct vibe. And things get funnier and funnier and funnier and wilder as the show progresses. And it's one of the best things on Supernatural. I am psyched.
I'm looking forward to it then, because I already like him.
Yep. So Beck goes on to say, I totally forgot Meg was the one who caused Joe to die. And it's wild to me because Meg is one of the most impactful and amazing characters later on. And then in parentheses, her death hit me like a ton of bricks. I probably shouldn't have said that.
Spoilers.
Whoops. I was reading it and then I was like, wait, that was a spoiler. I shouldn't have read that part out loud. My bad. Sorry, Laura.
It's not the first spoiler you've spoiled.
The thing is like, we'll have guests and listeners who love the format of the show and really want to protect the fact that Laura does not know what's happening, because people really enjoy listening to her oh my god, I didn't know this thing reaction. And people like Jenny from Spirits and Supernatural, so considerate, so kind, being like, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed out. What if I accidentally spoil something for Laura? And I'm always like, even if you do, worst case scenario, it'll be okay. The show will go on. It'll be all right. Yeah. But we obviously really appreciate everyone who's tried so hard to protect her. I'm the one who always fucking ruins it for her. It's literally me. It's always me being a complete ditz and then being like, oh wait, actually, is that a spoiler?
Jeff already told me Sam was drinking demon blood, and I was like, wait, is he? I hadn't read that out yet.
There's that. And I'm pretty sure I let it, I'm pretty sure I let slip that he had demon blood in him before we knew that he actually had demon blood. I was like, oh, yeah. I'm on an episode and I was like, oh, because of the demon blood. And Laura was like, what do you mean?
Oh yeah, I think that's what I was thinking of actually.
Yeah. Well, I know it was both, because I thought that you knew about the demon blood at this, I thought it was inferred and implied, and that you had worked it out because of the previous, and then no. So I ended up actually spoiling the demon blood twice. I'm very talented with my spoilers. I like to give and then give again with my spoilers, apparently. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that was a wild sidebar. Sorry, everybody. So back to the note. So Beck says, I forgot how much of a villain she was. And can I just say same? Like, with the second iteration of Meg, her character gets a lot of development on the show. And when you come back to a rewatch, like, I think you remember Blonde Meg, who was the very talented Nikki Acox. Rest in peace. She was amazing. And then you get Rachel Miner, who is the version of Ruby that we tend to all think of. I think personally, like whenever I have conversations with other fans, we're all talking about Rachel Miner because she's amazing.
I think you're forgetting that Sam was Meg once as well, Joy.
And
There's
Sam.
been 3 Megs.
I'm so sorry. And Sam. And Jared Padalecki. Who was amazing as Meg, actually.
Yeah.
And also kind of a thirst trap as Meg. But Meg is just a thirst trap no matter what is happening. So there you go. So I derailed my own train of thought when I said that. Because I was like thinking about all the thirst traps of Meg. Anyway, Meg is amazing, is my point. And Meg is so amazing that actually, like, Rachel Miner's performance, I think, sweeps our brain of earlier storylines. And so when you go back to the rewatch like I did, I was like, wait, it was Meg? Meg killed Joe? What do you... I literally didn't know. Laura was here watching this all in real time. She was like, okay. Meanwhile, I'm having a meltdown and I'm like, Meg is the villain. I was like, Meg is worse than Lucifer in this episode. What the hell, y'all? I was not okay. I was just like, what the fuck? So, I am completely on the same page as Beck. Beck and I together did not know. We did not remember that Meg starts out as like such an amazing black hat wearing villain. So then point number 3 that Beck has in this note is, and this is the big one, is written in all capitals. Okay, so this is the big one. They wrote, I think the picture they take before they leave is the one that Dean sees in the future. So do you remember when we were in that other episode and you have Chuck and like the whole alternate version of reality and Chuck's like, hoard toilet paper like it's gold, right? There's a photo in there that he gets shown. And I forgot all about this. Beck is a fucking genius, y'all. So Beck says the photo that they take that we see at the end where they're like burning it, they think that it's the picture that they take before they leave. And that's the one that Dean saw in the future. So like in the alternate timeline, because things have gone slightly differently, I think they made a different decision and didn't burn the photo in that timeline, right? So that's what Lucifer shows Dean in Detroit. And Beck says it's a small detail, but it's so cool to me. It impacts Dean so much to see so many of the people in the photo dead in the future timeline abandon all hope, right? So I was like goosebumps. That gave me goosebumps because I'm pretty sure that Beck's right and that is the photo. And I was like, what the hell? That's amazing.
That's cool. I might be thinking of a different photo, but I thought the photo had the camp in the background. Or was there another?
I thought that there was 2 photos.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, this is my memory that we're talking about. I think that everyone here understands that my memory is a sieve full of black holes. But that's how I recall it.
That's cool.
It'd be super cool either way. But like that's how I recall it. And I think it's a really, really cool detail. So then the next thing that I have for you guys is Beck also made a Spotify playlist, which I will link in my show notes for you guys to listen to. It's supernatural themed. Those of you who like Beck and I have seen like the full series are going to get a different hit out of it, but it's not spoilers. And I think that everyone is going to love the playlist. So I will go ahead and include that. You guys can go and listen to it. Make sure that you tell Beck thank you. And yeah, go hang out. Be cool people. Be good friends. But I just like, I love the playlist. And then the next thing that I have to say is it is cool. Nadine wrote in / had a conversation with me, and I've decided that means she wrote in my mind because I run the mailbag and it's my whim, whimsy. Nadine and I had this amazing conversation. And basically she thinks that where she's working right now might be haunted because she's on late night shifts, right?
Yeah.
She was working a late night shift, doing like a graveyard shift at her new place of work, and she suddenly hears something, and she's like, "What the hell?" And it's the radio coming on by itself at midnight,
Yeah.
blasting music. Okay, and she thinks that one of the former residents of this place where she works, may be haunting it because I believe that the resident passed away in the building where she's working now. And apparently he had a certain kind of personality. So this is her current working theory. I'm waiting for updates. I'm going to because this
Yeah, I want
episode when it
updates.
comes out is going to remind me to ask her for updates if anything else has happened. But I'd be like, Nadine, how haunted are you? How's it going? Has anything else weird happened? And then I will tell you guys on the podcast as I
Yeah.
find out.
That's radio turning on is very supernatural as well.
It is very supernatural. Because like I was reminded recently when I did some of the music stuff that we all put together in the comments section, which also, like, you guys, your replies to my stories, 10 out of 10, top tier, amazing. I have some that I'm saving for the next mailbag. When I was like, what is the silliest scene in Supernatural? And you guys came through so hard. It is so funny. I can't wait to share that. I might save that one for the 100th episode though, because it's so funny. I think it'll go really well on the 100th episode. But yeah, like Nadine being haunted with the radio turning itself on really reminded me of that episode where it's like the House of the Rising Sun in Roadkill. And I was just like, that is literally from a Supernatural episode. So when Laura was like, yeah, that's very Supernatural, I was like, it literally is.
Yeah, we want to have updates.
I will get updates. I promise you. I will ask her for updates. She's also working on catching up. There's like a couple people who are working on catching up with the podcast, and they kind of keep me in the loop with where they are. And like, I love all of you guys because you're amazing because you're binging the podcast, which is like the best thing ever in life. So I'm really excited for when she gets to the point where she's like more caught up because we have these back and forths with like her, there's Sia, there's Navia, there's so many people now that we just have like ongoing conversations with, like Beck, and it's so much fun when people are up to date because then it's like a literal conversation. If you guys haven't written in yet and you're being shy about being in the mailbag, stop being silly because this is obviously a great time. Okay, it's a great time. So just DM me on Instagram or write into the email address and put mailbag as the subject line, and I will see it, and you can be part of the mailbag.
Yeah.
So the next thing that I have to say that is actual preamble for the episode is I was like Googling body swapping magic because of course I did. Yeah. It's me, right? And I was like, there's a lot of shape-shifting lore where people take on the form of someone else, right? But I couldn't think of anything that I'd ever read or any historic sources that I had seen about spells, magic, or folklore about actual like body swaps, right? So it's like, it's interesting though, because it's a really common trope in like certain kinds of fiction, but especially on TV and TV shows like this,
like
and
Freaky
in sci-fi,
Friday.
like Freaky Friday. Yeah, exactly. This episode, it's done a lot. So I was like, it's obviously in the storytelling zeitgeist of culture. So
yeah,
I wonder if there is a folkloric root somewhere or a myth or something. And that I could only find one thing. I would like to apologize to everyone from India for my attempts at pronouncing this. I ran out of time today, which means that unfortunately I haven't had a chance to listen to Google teach me how to pronounce any of these words. Pray for me and thank you in advance. So, what I did find was there is something that is, now I will say, full disclosure, I am clearly not of Indian descent, nor am I an expert in this. It's not my culture. It's not my practices. Also, I got this from a Google overview. So take this very much with a grain of salt, because when I was researching it, I could find very limited sources about it. Very, very limited sources. So I'm going to include it, but because there are so few proper sources. Like, I did check that there were actual real sources attached to it, but I can't verify them because I wouldn't know, basically. So, grain of salt, guys, grain of salt. Okay, so it says Parakheya Pravesha is an advanced esoteric yogic technique originating from Indian mythological scripts and spiritual traditions involving the conscious transfer of one's soul or consciousness into another body, often a recently deceased one, which is different from what we see in this episode. But if the person was alive, of which, from what I've read, there are a few examples of that, then it is pretty much what we saw in this episode. Although, as far as I can tell, it would be the yogi, the expert person, who puts themselves in the other person's body. Now, I'm not sure if that means there's a soul transference, like what we see here, and then that other person's soul goes into the yogi's body. Don't 100% know, because that part isn't specified. But I'd be really curious to find out more, honestly. If anybody does know about this stuff and wants to tell me, because I am fascinated by what I have found. It's very interesting to read.
If it isn't a swap, it's like more like a possession that we see in, like, when a demon in the show possesses someone.
Yeah.
If there's not that transference, which is, I hadn't thought of it that way before, actually.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? Now, they do clarify in what I read that in the yogi practice, it's supposed to be like a sacred spiritual experience that allows the practitioner to take on more understanding and knowledge rather than something negative, or it's not supposed to be like a violation sort of thing. It's supposed to be like a spiritual oneness, from what I can tell. So the overview goes on to say that it represents ultimate control over consciousness and has historical and mythical references such as Adi Shankaracharya using it to learn worldly knowledge, or Tirumular adopting a shepherd's body, and Raja Vikramaditya, who all apparently practiced this specific kind of spiritual practice. So the definition literally means entering another's body, and it is a feat that is achievable only by highly realized yogis through intense meditation and mastery over life forces. The purpose is traditionally used for gaining specific knowledge, like Shankara entering King Amaruka's body to understand Kama Shastra, or extending life. Historical examples are the written examples. So Adi Shankaracharya entered a dead king to learn about household life, which is interesting. Like, I assume that means like the life of the household of the king. Tirumular entered a shepherd's body to continue his yoga practice, so presumably the shepherd had some kind of wisdom that he was seeking. Raja Yayati and Vikramaditya were famous for using this power. It's considered one of the 64 arts in Hindu tradition involving specific shoklas and mudras. And in modern interpretation, some interpret this as a metaphorical sense, as in it's empathy rather than a literal metaphysical thing, or the ability to deeply understand others, while some spiritual practitioners see it as entering existence by removing self-boundaries. It is not considered a form of possession, but rather a voluntary, temporary, or permanent transfer of consciousness by a yogi.
Okay. So not possession, like I just suggested.
Apparently no. Although if you really break it down and take it very literally, I think that you could see how people would be like, what do you mean?
Especially if like you're saying about the soul transference, like if they're not leaving their own body and going somewhere else as well, and they're still there, then that's different, isn't it, to what we see in this episode?
Yeah, for sure. It's all very interesting.
Although I feel like that might be what they were expecting to have happened, because they were
surprised. Yeah,
they were surprised that Sam was in Gary's body.
Yeah. So I looked everywhere that I could look online to see like if there's any history of this practice anywhere, if there's any spells written anywhere, any historic context for it. Because like I even found that one poppet spell about like changing death, didn't I? The medieval one. So I was like, I wonder if there actually is something written or some piece of mythology somewhere. And the only place that I can find is this Indian practice, which is just really interesting, and really cool. And I love seeing mythologies, folklore, spiritual practices from other cultures. I find it like fascinating.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my preamble.
Yeah. Do you know what my preamble is?
You hate this episode so much.
It's just all the reasons I didn't like this episode.
Hit me.
Okay. So the first thing is the whole storyline felt pointless to me because if Gary wanted Dean dead, there are much easier ways he could have done that than swap bodies with his brother to get like close to him to kill him. That just is like what he could have done anything else.
Yep, sure. I think it was an accident, wasn't it?
Well, I don't know, because he was like spying on Sam and he was like, when they were eating in the restaurant. I don't know. But then I also didn't think it was even that funny because it felt icky to me. Like the whole, you kind of touched upon it earlier because you said it like not being a violation, and I was like, that's what it feels like to me, because it's like he's in Sam's body and then he's doing things in Sam's body that Sam hasn't consented to, and like that just, I don't like it.
Yeah, for sure. If you read this episode literally / critically, there's definitely a case to be made that it's very Gertrude coded.
Yeah.
I read it comedically because I felt like that was the vibe, and I found it absolutely hilarious. But I can certainly understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. The only funny bit I thought was Jared pretending to be a teenager, like that.
He's amazing. He's so funny.
Like when he's told, "Leave me alone,"
yeah,
to his mum.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I didn't like about it was that Dean took way too long to work out what was going on.
Oh my god, I have notes on that.
To the point it was so obvious. I was like, Dean, you're smarter than this.
I was like, my notes say, Dean, you did not read the Odyssey. Okay, because you cannot even figure out that is not your brother. And the clues are neon.
Even when he's like, at some point, he's kind of suspicious, but he still doesn't put it together. I'm like, Dean. But no, yeah. So I'd written down the only good parts for me were the performance by Sarah Drew, who's Nora as the demon, and
She's
then Jared
amazing.
acting like a teenager.
And Jared is also amazing. I love both of those things. I love this whole episode. I'm gonna rewatch this episode possibly tonight, maybe, because I love it so much. It's so funny. This is definitely going to be one of the ones that I add into my rotation of episodes that I just watched, like rinse and repeat.
I am never going to watch it again.
That's fair.
No, I probably will.
I think you probably will. For stuff like a banana daiquiri, my good man.
Yeah, some of that was funny, but it was also, I was just like, but it's silly. No, the beginning bit up until it got creepy was quite funny.
Yeah, I think if he hadn't have gone off with Crystal, you would have found it all very funny. But I understand why you're feeling like you feel like Sam's being violated because he's out of his body. He's not in there. He's not consenting to what's going on. And Gary has decided he wants to be handsome and tall, so he just stole. He just took it, which is extremely fucked up. So like I hear you, like morally speaking, it is shit. Watching it is unbelievably hilarious because Jared is such a good actor. Like Jared for me carries this episode and steals the whole show because his acting is so shit hot. Like when he's pretending to be Gary in his body, he's so fucking funny. He's like so for real. And then when Sam is in Gary's body and it's Jared, he's like so mad the entire time, and it is amazing. And I have never laughed so hard. Like, my cheeks hurt from laughing so much at this episode. Like, when his mom's like, come down for dinner, honey. And he's like, leave me alone.
Yeah.
And he's like, fine,
he's
I'm
like,
coming.
Come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, those bits. It is those bits that saved it for me. But
and I don't know the name of the actress. You said her name, and it went in one ear and out the other. The actress who plays
Sarah
Nora
Drew.
is phenomenal. Yes, her. She is amazing. Like,
Yeah.
she feels like she's the main character. Like, she feels like she's a main cast member. She doesn't feel like a bit part or like a throwaway. When she's playing this confused, vulnerable girl, you really feel that. When she's playing this demon, you
she's really good.
feel like the flip from this like small, dainty, mousy young girl to this like evil, ancient entity that could tear you apart in seconds, and she fucking nails it. So like to have her and Jared in this episode just really like being awesome, honestly, is such a treat.
Yeah, and it was fun because I recognized her from Grey's Anatomy, and I was like, and obviously I'd watched that before I watched this.
Yeah.
So I was like, she's a bit younger in this, and I was like, oh, she was still good, like even then.
Oh, amazing. Got another supernatural guest star linked to another show. That's like my favorite things.
I'm pretty sure she's in Grey's Anatomy, and then halfway through the episode, I was like, you know, when you think of the name and it comes to you, I was like, April. She was April, and then and then I looked it up just to check, and I was like, yeah, there was her.
That's amazing.
Should I do the synopsis?
Yes, please.
So this is season 5, episode 12, Swap Meet. The original air date for this episode was January 28th, 2010. While Sam and Dean are in a town investigating poltergeist activity at the house of a former babysitter, Sam ends up in a body swap situation against his will with a local teenager, Gary. It turns out Gary and his friends have been engaging in occultism and have taken it upon themselves to be bounty hunters for a demon who wants Dean dead and back in hell. Thankfully, this doesn't go too well for Gary and his friends. One of his friends is possessed by the demon, and the other is killed by the demon. And Sam and Dean manage to survive the ordeal, ready to hunt another day.
Can I just say, it was so refreshing in this episode to see that the kids who were getting into Satan and being Satanists were like, as in like the stereotypical TV stuff, were not the goth kids. For once, it wasn't the goth kids. It was like the wealthy elite kids who were like, I want to go to Vassar. And I honestly find that so much more believable in like a horror fantasy setting. I find it a lot more believable. It's not the goth kids, guys. The goth kids are doing other things. They're listening to music and being cool. It would 100% be these absolute twerps who are like, I've decided that I want this, and so I'm going to do this, and I'm going to summon Lucifer.
Yeah. And I forgot what his name is. Trevor, is it? Trevor?
Yeah.
He is just, I hate him.
He's an amazing,
so entitled.
Amazing entitled prick. He's perfect. He's
even
like the ultimate Chad. He's like a wasp Chad.
Yeah.
He's Chad Wasp.
He's like, you're going to give me what I want. Like, no, she's not. She's a demon.
No, I was so rooting for him to keep being so stupid because Sam's like, shut up, stop it, you idiot. And I was like, no, go harder, please.
Yeah,
she literally rips his heart out, and I was like, that was unbelievably satisfying. Do it again.
Yeah, I wish I could say I felt sorry for Trevor, but I did not.
No.
So, should we start? Should we go into the... So we open in a bar where a woman is sitting alone drinking. Sam turns up, but we can already tell something's up because he calls the bartender barkeep and he's making a point of telling him his age. He orders a banana daiquiri and the woman introduces herself as Crystal and asks him his name. He says he's Gary and shakes her hand awkwardly. Crystal calls him a stunning looking man and he says, I know, right? Then checks himself out and smooths his hair.
Oh my God, it's amazing. My first notes were like, this kid in Sam's body is hilarious. And I wrote, a banana daiquiri, my good man. and also the same thing where she's like, you are just a stunning looking man. And he's like, I know, right? He's so excited. And then she hits on him and he says, Crystal, I would love to have the sex with you.
The sex. Yeah, that was so cringy.
Oh my god, dude, it's so funny. Like, Jared Padalecki is so funny. He's such a great comedy actor. Because I feel like a lot of what we see from Sam, like when he plays comedy in Supernatural, he's playing like annoyed at Dean comedy or like sassy comedy, and occasionally slapstick, like in Bad Day at Black Rock. He does great slapstick. I have never seen him do like full on comedy before this episode, though, I don't think. And he fucking is like side clenchingly hilarious. So he's like, "Whoa." He like drags it out, and then he's like, the sex with you. It's the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life.
See, these are the bits that were like, these were the funny bits when it was Jared as Gary.
Yeah.
But then it just gets weird. Oh, and also I'd written in my notes that it was one of the situations where, because obviously I hadn't watched it before.
Yeah.
But even just from reading that tiny little sentence you get on Amazon Prime that tells you what the episode's about.
Yeah.
That was spoilers, because I knew it was a body swap situation. So it kind of ruined the first scene, because I was like, well, I know what's happening.
Laura and her ongoing vendetta against Prime.
They keep giving you spoilers in the sentence.
Yeah. Hashtag Amazon do better.
But so I knew what was going on.
Yeah.
And then it just, the first bit is funny, and then it gets creepy when she like is gonna have sex, because he is like a teenage boy in Sam's body. So in fairness, Crystal doesn't know that he's as young as he is. So it's kind of like a double violation, if you like.
Yes.
But yeah, so I just thought it was creepy. Anyway, and then that's the titles.
I wrote where Gary says, thanks, actually the whole outfit is new. I wrote, Gary, you body snatching twerp.
Yeah.
I did appreciate that Crystal isn't made to be the butt of the joke. That was really nice, because I feel like in past episodes, especially in earlier seasons, she would have been made out to be like this like crazy creepy cougar or something. It would have been like a Gertrude situation, and that did not happen. Like, Crystal isn't the butt of the joke, and that was really nice. Like, Crystal is a solid character. I had no complaints about her. The only person who's acting really reprehensibly is Gary, and Gary's too young and too dumb to realize how reprehensible he's being, I feel like. I'm not excusing his behavior by any means. I think he's fully guilty. And it's this sort of thing, though, that I think makes it so satisfying. When Dean was like, if you were voting age, we would just kill you. It's like, yeah, Gary. So
Dean not having problems killing humans again.
Dean is fine.
Everything just a little bit of a hypocrite sometimes.
Fine.
So then we get the titles, and then it's 36 hours earlier, and Sam and Dean go to a house and speak to a woman called Donna, who used to be their babysitter / maid at a hotel they were staying. And I wrote, John left the boys with the maid at the hotel and left for 2 weeks. Of course he did. Great parenting.
Womp, womp, womp. I wrote, Dean and Sam are meeting their old babysitter, who was a maid at a motel. It's like the writers heard us being like, why can't they have a babysitter? And then I was like, oh my God, 2 weeks. People being all, someone would call child services. And I was like, number one, no one ever calls. Taken from my personal experience. But also, especially not in the 80s and 90s. Like, two, why would anyone call if there was childcare? Because we had this whole back and forth where it was like, John Winchester's such a bad dad. And the defense was that he couldn't get them childcare because if he did, then that person would call child services on him for being so irresponsible. And I really thought about this, and this episode really drove it home for me. And I was like, no, because I lived through this time period and no one gave a fuck. Like, most people did not even know where their children were. I can distinctly remember my parents leaving me in charge of my sister when I was like 10 or 11, and like literally like leaving the state, leaving me, not just leaving for like leaving the state, the whole entire state. And I was told that I just needed to go to the neighbors if there was a problem.
Oh god.
So like the 80s and the 90s are wild as fuck. And this is totally believable. So he's like, well, okay, so John clearly can get them a babysitter and did one time in their whole lives. Like for one time they were looked after by another adult. And that's probably why they remember her as their greatest babysitter.
Only
Because
babysitter.
like, well, there's got to be two, because Dean says in that other episode, the other like with the Damien kid who ends up not being a Damien kid and he goes off to live in Australia. I can't remember what it's called. No, I can't remember what it's called. But he says that his other babysitter was annoying and grumpy and old and just wanted to watch Jeopardy or something, or a soap opera. I can't remember. It was like Days of Our Lives or something. And he was like, oh. So he was, when he was relating to that kid. So we know they've had at least two babysitters. But most of the time, we're just left to their own devices. So, yeah, my counter argument to that is, why can he sometimes get the babysitters and other times just straight up abandons them?
Because he's a rubbish dad, Joy.
Yeah, this is my whole point. So basically, I feel like it was wild. And then also on top of that, John told this woman what he was doing because she knew. And that's why they're calling Sam and Dean. So it's like, not only was she their babysitter, but also she knew that John was a hunter.
She knows about hunters and monsters and stuff, which I also feel like is just convenient for this episode, because I'm pretty sure they've said that they didn't like tell anyone.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an odd one. I think my mental backstory for this episode is that John was having a weird week and possibly got drugged or something from some gin, and like the side effect of it was him basically being super high and acting like a human being and ensuring his children's welfare, and then also sharing his backstory and his lore with someone. Like opening up emotionally. That's what I think has happened.
Dean has told, who was Lisa?
Yeah.
He has told a few people, and Cassie. He's told some people about what he does, but it just doesn't usually go very well, so they tend not to.
Which we would understand. Like, they got themselves admitted into a psych ward because they were like, this is our lives and this is what we do.
Yeah. Which is why Dean can only be with other hunters, and why him and Joe are perfect for each other.
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
Anyway, I feel like we're getting off
we are going off on tangents.
So she's called them there because she has a poltergeist, basically.
Yeah.
And it attacked their daughter and scratched murdered child, spelled CHYLDE, into her stomach.
You oldie languagey.
It's really dark. Like, they scratched this into her stomach. And then Dean's like, oh, everything's going to be fine. And I wrote, yeah, everything will be fine, except she'll have that scar forever. And then he
way to lighten the mood.
Well,
Laura's going to be really lighthearted this episode, you guys. She's like, that's a violation, and this child is scarred for life.
I told you I was grumpy when I watched this episode.
Yeah, fair.
And it shows. But it's funny, me reading my notes now.
Yeah.
He tells them to leave for a while and take a little vacation, and they'll take care of it.
So we got the location in the initial shot where it said that it was Housatonic, Massachusetts. And I was like, Housatonic, Massachusetts, what do you have for me? There is actually lore that goes along. There's a lot of lore. Okay, there's actually a lot of lore. At first I thought there was nothing. You guys, I had to dig deep. But there's a shit ton of lore about this place, actually. So to read you guys the overview, and then I'm going to kind of like summarize, because I have an article which I've linked in for you guys to read if you want to read about all the crazy ass spooky shit that happens here. But there is actual ghost activity that makes so much sense. And there's also satanic activity. So like all of it tracks. Like the ghost attacks, yes, check that box off. The satanic cult stuff, yes, check that box off. So without further ado, folklore in the Housatonic and Berkshires area, because when English people invaded America, they literally just named everything the exact same fucking thing. Like, it's not all of it is like New York either, where it's like York, New York. It's not even that creative. There's the Berkshires here, which I think is the Berkshires.
Berkshire.
Yeah, Berkshire here. in America, you just say Berkshire or Berkshire. I'm trying to remember the American pronunciation. I've lived here for longer than there now, I think. But anyway, regardless of how we say it, basically they literally just named everything the exact same fucking thing from where they were. They were like, God has given us this land. Fun fact, no. And then they were like, we're going to call everything exactly the same as our hometown because that makes sense to us.
Yeah. Did you? And where was this again? Was this Massachusetts? Did you say?
Massachusetts, yeah.
Yeah, because there's loads of Massachusetts is all just like
it's literally all British
just
names.
English towns.
Also,
and stuff, yeah.
I found out like my mind was blown. Like this Southampton and Portsmouth that are in America are the same fucking distance apart as the Southampton and Portsmouth in the UK. What the hell, people? It's like old school crazy ass white people, y'all.
Yeah, not very imaginative. Can't come up with new names.
Zero imagination. Just colonizing, committing horrors, and being wildly uncreative while they're doing it.
Yeah.
So, there are lots of tales of hauntings. So one of the most well-known is the Housatonic Tunnel in North Adams. There's a phantom at Edith Wharton's house and intense paranormal activity on October Mountain, which is the coolest name for a mountain ever. It's like haunted and spooky, and it's called October Mountain. Like, I cannot be happier with that.
Could they called it Halloween Mountain?
Oh, yeah, I guess. So there are regional legends that feature local figures like the quote-unquote hermit Mad Henry, the ghostly girl of October Mountain, because October Mountain is supposed to be haunted by a young girl in a white dress. So she's kind of like a woman in white, but she's like a girl in white. And then there's also supposed to be numerous bottomless ponds associated with dark spirits and the devil.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So October Mountain is considered a hot spot for paranormal activity, including ghost stories, Bigfoot sightings, and UFO activity. Laura, this is like you would love it there. Start all your things.
Put it on the road trip.
Adding it to the road trip. It features an abandoned 19th century cemetery supposedly haunted by a young girl in a white dress, like I said. Then we move on to the Housatonic Tunnel, which is known as one of the most haunted places in New England, and stories tell of a presence and voices in the dark that are often blamed for the death of a worker named Ringo Kelly. There are also abundant rumors about that particular haunting that people can get strangled.
Ooh.
So there's a death linked to this poltergeist and also strangling. So like it's very much a violent haunting from what I read. Which goes along really well with the violent ass ghost that we get in this episode, to be honest with you. Then Mad Henry is supposed to be a magician, like crazy doctor type who is living by himself in this decrepit mansion. And the whole thing made me think of like the abandoned house and her body being buried in it, and how she's a witch and he's supposed to be a magician. So it like very much ties together, in my opinion. And then there are supposed to be all of these lakes and ponds that can't be measured how deep they are, and they're associated with witchcraft and the devil, right? So we have swamplands, gods, curses, witches, and satanic cults in this whole area. Like the whole thing is just rife. And there's also a thing called the Bridgewater Triangle, which is this area of place that they named to be like the Bermuda Triangle because of all the weirdness that's happening there. I think my paranormal friends would call it like an area of high strangeness. So it's like the Bermuda Triangle. It is so creepy. There is all kinds of like rumors about satanic cult activity. There is a history of which includes a murder. There have been apparently interactions like with local wildlife. There's supposed to be curses, angry gods, and I can't get over the whole like this bottom is linked to Satan thing. Like I need to read more about that. Like it's wild, and it goes so well with the episode because we have our satanic activity in the episode. We have our lone magician living in an abandoned house. Yep. And we also have a violent poltergeist, which I can also check off the box for this location. So everything makes perfect sense. And not only that, but the story of the witch isn't the same as, but it's kind of similar to the story of half-hanged Mary, who I've brought up before, Mary Webster, where she was accused by her neighbors, which is in Hadley, Massachusetts. She was cleared of the charges, but the townspeople took matters into their own hands, dragged her from her home, and then hung her from a tree in this like private mob sort of an act, which is very similar to this dude hanging this woman in his back garden. She survived, which is why she is known as half-hanged Mary, because she's metal and a survivor.
I'm impressed that you managed to find all those links.
Thank you.
Okay, so then we cut to a fast food restaurant, and Dean is ordering food from the boy for the opening scene. Because at the end of that opening scene, we did actually see that it wasn't Sam. We saw this boy, Gary. And we know it's Gary at the restaurant here. And I just wrote there's banter about the salad, because Dean is like, he's almost like apologizing for ordering a salad. I actually thought that salad shake looked really nice.
It did look really nice. So this is just him being like a typical dude bro, being like, oh my God, salad.
Ordering a salad in a fast food restaurant.
Yeah, I literally wrote, cut to the diner and Greg, if that is his real name. And then I wrote, Dean is embarrassed that Sam is eating a salad. Eye roll.
Wait, what did you say his name was? Because I don't think it is that.
Oh, I said Greg.
So it's not actually that.
It's Gary. When I was first watching it, I thought his name was Greg.
Yeah. I mean, they're similar, aren't they? So Dean goes back and sits with Sam, who's sitting at a table. They talk about the situation with Donna and family life in general, and Dean's asking Sam if he would want like a family life like that. But Sam would only have wanted that life with Jess, I feel like. Like he's kind of he's given up on that. He's like, no, not anymore.
Yeah. Oh, my favorite part was when Dean sits down with the whole salad shake and gives it to him, and Sam adds his dressing and then starts shaking it up. And Dean just staring at him. He goes, "Oh, you shake it up, baby." So funny. And
then it was that bit where I was like, this actually looks nice. I'd eat that.
Yeah, I know. And then he says, poltergeist aside, Donna looked pretty good, don't you think? And Sam's like, dude, don't tell me you still got the hots for our babysitter. And Dean says, what? No, that's weird. And then he laughs. And he's like, I'm just saying, she's doing good, with her husband and her kid. This whole Amityville thing being thrown at them, and they're hanging tough. And I was like, this is adorable. And then that's when he asks them about the whole family thing. And Sam's like, no, that's not for me anymore. But I love those lines.
Yeah.
It's very sad that Sam is crushed at this point and doesn't want a family. Like, I get it. I understand it. It is kind of heartbreaking, though. And it's beautiful and also a little bit sad because of how Sam replies, because Dean's obviously like, oh my gosh, a family.
Yeah.
And he obviously is thinking, I want a family.
Yeah. But Dean's never really, apart from when he was with Lisa, we've never really seen him even consider that, because he's usually the one that's like, no, I'm just the hunter through and through. But now it's like they've swapped. But yeah, I think Sam would have with Jess, obviously. Yeah. But then in Venice, the only other relationship he tried to have was with a werewolf afterwards. Oh, hang on, and a demon. So you can see why now he's like, nah.
I just laughed so hard I pulled a muscle in my neck, guys. Oh, Laura's so funny. It's bad for health and safety.
So Sam's been researching the house, and legend has it the original owner hung a woman in his backyard for witchcraft who was Maggie Briggs. And as they talk, the kid, Gary, is staring at Sam in such a dreamily way. It's kind of like he's mesmerized by his beauty, I wrote.
He is mesmerized by his beauty. Who can blame him? Sam is hot.
Yeah. And then later that night, Sam's on the phone to Dean, walking back to the motel, presumably, and he's been doing some more research. He says he can't even find proof of a woman named Maggie Briggs existed, much less where she was planted. And it always amuses me when they use planted instead of buried.
Yeah, I love it.
Dean says they could pick it up again tomorrow. Sam says he'll see him in a few and hangs up. And then he hears a noise and you can tell his spidey senses are tingling and he's on high alert, but there doesn't seem to be anyone around. And then a tranquilizer dart comes out of nowhere and lands in his neck, and he grunts and goes dizzy and falls to the ground.
Wait, because you need to hear my notes. You need to hear them so much. Because before they leave, Gary gets a lot of ominous close-ups, okay, with some very dramatic music as he stares at Sam like a crazy person and does a super creepy smile. Okay. And then we cut to Sam being outside, and I wrote, Sam really shouldn't be allowed to walk alone at night. At least it's not a parking lot, ... right? And then I wrote, he gets hit by a dart in the neck like an actual moose. And then I put a moose emoji. Laughing my ass off. Crying, laughing emoji. He even makes a moose sound. I can't. Because he actually does. Like, he, like, grunts. He's like, ooh. It's obviously a lot lower than that, but that's, like, the kind of sound that he makes. You guys, he actually makes a moose sound. And then he hits the ground. Like, all 6'4" of him. Boom. It is unbelievably funny.
Yeah. But it's like, I was thinking, because obviously I knew something was going to happen, and I was like, how is this, like, much smaller boy going to overpower Sam? And then when he was tranked, I was like, that'll do it.
Yeah. That'll do, pig, that'll do. Oh my god, it was so funny. And then my next notes say, we see Gary in some bushes while some thunder rolls, except it's not Gary, it's Sam dressed in Gary's crazy ass American flag uniform.
What was that uniform?
It's like Diner Americana on crack.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I wrote, Sam is understandably wildly confused that everyone thinks he's Gary.
Yeah.
So basically he's wandering back, and then he gets picked up by a police officer. Okay. Who's like, get in the car, son. And at the time you're thinking, I guess cops kind of do talk like that, but he seems to be acting as if he's like younger, right?
Yeah. And
we don't get the reveal until the cop drops him off at this house that is not his house. And Sam is all like, this is not where I live. And then these strangers come out and they're talking to him as if he's a totally different person. And he's like, what the hell? And Gary's mom is talking to him as if he's Gary, because, you know, he's in Gary's body. She didn't know. She's like, Gary, are you drunk? Answer your father. Because Gary's like, are you drunk right now, son? And she's like, answer your father. And Sam's like, my father? Look. And then he catches Gary's reflection instead of his in the police car window, right? And he goes, who is that? Who the hell is that? And he's like, freaking out. It's like when a cat catches their reflection in a mirror. You guys. And Gary's dad goes, he's out of his gourd, young man. I'm very surprised at you. And Sam's like, yeah, tell me about it. I died laughing, y'all. Oh my god, it's so funny.
So we then see Gary, so that he's inside the house now. We see Gary in Sam's body, checking himself out again, flexing his muscles in the mirror, etc. And I just wondered at this point whether it was really awkward for Jared being like, oh yeah, I'm so hot. Like, as he was acting this out. But the transitions are really good, like the mirrors.
Yeah.
Because it's like you can see Sam in one not in the reflection, and Gary in the reflection, and that was really cool.
It was really cool. That was some amazing direction and cinematography. I also need you to know that the notes that I wrote for this scene are all in all caps. Okay, just screaming all caps. And I was like, Sam is flexing his muscles in front of a mirror. And then I wrote, thirst trap. Also, the way that we're so used to seeing him wearing both of them wearing 3 t-shirts.
Layers.
It's like the women watching this show were like Victorian men back in the day being like, oh my god, an ankle. You see Sam's arms and you flip the fuck out. Because Jared Padalecki is so hot, don't get me wrong. But we're really only seeing him in a muscle t-shirt. It's not risque by any means, but we're all going, oh my god, oh my lord.
Like you say, normally they've got about 6 layers on.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just like, it really does create this kind of like Victorian situation where we get insanely excited over his arms. So, and then in Gary's voice, we hear, "Oh yeah, bring it." Because he's like checking himself out and he's like, "Oh, yeah, oh." So funny. It's so funny. And he's like, "Holy crap." And then Dean walks in and Dean's like, "Sam, where the hell you been, man? I've been trying to call you for hours." And Gary's like, "I picked up some food. Bacon burger turbo, large chili cheese fry, right? Sorry, man, really. I just lost track of time. I didn't mean to freak you out." And Dean's like, "Thanks. Don't know why it took you 2 hours, but thanks." So then we see they have a bit of a conversation and Gary ditches all of the phones so that Sam can't call Dean and contact him and be like, "That is not me. That is obviously not me." They kind of discuss the case and what their next moves are going to be. And then we cut to outside and Gary asks to drive. And Dean lets him. And he backs the Impala into garbage immediately. Like really badly too. And it's so funny because Dean's screaming, "Reverse, reverse," and he thinks he means go in reverse. But what he's saying is the car is already in reverse.
In fairness, that wasn't particularly clear.
So he just doubles down and backs straight into the fucking bins. And then next scene, he's like, Dean getting in the driver's side being really angry. Gary be like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." Dean's obviously like, "Shut the fuck up."
Shut up, yeah. I don't understand how Dean thought that he was giving a clear instruction, though. Because he's like, "Reverse." Like, that's not clear, Dean. Maybe I'm just sensitive because, fun fact, when I was like 16, 17 and I was learning to drive, my dad took me out in he had a Land Rover. And
fancy.
We went, we went somewhere like off-road somewhere, and he didn't tell me, like, it doesn't drive the same way as a car does. I don't know if it was some setting he had on his Land Rover or what, but if you took all your feet off all the pedals, you would stall in a normal car, right? Yeah. But I did that because I was like, I took all my feet off, but then I just reversed really quickly into a tree instead. And I was like, I thought it was going to stall. And my dad still brings it up nearly every time I see him. So I remember that time that you cost me £2,000 worth of damage because you backed my car into a tree.
Oh my god.
Although, in fairness, if that tree hadn't been there, we would have reversed into like a lake. So it was probably better that we did stop by a tree.
Hashtag save the trees will save you.
But yeah, my dad never lets me live that down. And I still blame him. I was like, "You didn't give me clear instructions, so it's your fault."
Oh my god.
So also, what I'm trying to say is I'm Gary.
All of your feet. You have 2 feet.
All of my feet.
All of your feet.
I meant all the pedals. Take your feet off all the pedals.
That's the horror and horror. Rats are the rats of the world.
All your feet.
All your feet.
Like an octopus or something. Anyway, that was a bit of a detour, sorry.
I'm not sorry. Oh, my face hurts. Okay, so we cut into Gary's parents' house and it's nighttime and we hear Dean's voice saying, "This is Dean's other cell, so you must know what to do." And Sam's standing in Gary's bedroom holding the phone to his ear and Sam's like, "Dean, I've called every phone we've got. Where are you, man?" And then you see Gary's body reflected in the mirror and he's like, "So this is going to sound crazy, really crazy, but I think I'm in the wrong body." And then he laughs. He's like, "Not like that." But it's just the way he like he laughs nervously. And then he's like, could use a little help here. I think I got asthma. Call me back. And there's a point in this episode later on where I'm like, I feel personally attacked because he has asthma and he is a nerd, like as in like he likes Star Wars and stuff. And he is a celiac. I was like, leave me alone and stop bullying me, supernatural writers. So anyway, Sam makes another call and it's to the motel that they were staying at. And he asks to be put through to the room that they're staying in because he's still trying to get hold of Dean. And the guy says 102. Nah, man, those guys checked out like middle of the night. And Sam's like, wait, guys, plural? And man says, yeah, one leather jacket, one Sasquatch. They left.
That was funny.
And Sam looks so mad when he says Sasquatch.
Sasquatch.
Also, I'm saying this now because I'm fully going to forget that I had this idea. But you know how Sam sasses everyone and he's like quite sassy and also he's like a Sasquatch? I need to do a meme where it's like Sasquatch and it's Sam being sassy and super tall.
That's funny.
Just saying. Yeah. So Sam hangs up, looks at Gary's reflection, and kind of like moves his jaw around with his hand. Like he's trying to figure out what the fuck. And then he's also kind of mildly disgusted by the whole situation that he's in. And then he's like, who are you? And this is when he starts investigating. So he starts going through all of his things. He finds the AP, which is advanced placement chemistry and physics stuff. And he's like, smart kid. And then he sees the Star Wars Darth Vader t-shirt and he sighs and he goes, virgin. Then he opens this box that he finds under the bed, which has busty Asian beauties, because of course it does. Mm. And then he goes, oh, frustrated virgin. And then he finds the dagger and there's a cloth and a pentagram and he goes, witchcraft, huh, Gary? You little satanic bastard. And that made me laugh so fucking hard, you guys. The way he says, you little satanic bastard. Died. Gary's mom is like, Gary, breakfast. And Sam's like, leave me alone. And Gary's mom goes, Gary. And Sam's like, all right, I'm coming. He's so mad,
in the
you
most
guys.
teenage way.
He's so furious. So then we cut to the downstairs and it's Gary's mom and dad and sister and they're all eating breakfast. And Gary's dad is like, I'd like to know what happened last night. And Sam's like, so would I, believe me. And Gary's dad, I mean, what happened to the plan, buddy? And Sam's like, the plan? And he's like, SATs, MIT, the plan. You want to be an engineer? You need a full ride. So tell me, how does getting drunk fit with the plan? And Sam's like, right, yeah, listen, buddy, no offense, but at the moment I could give a rat's ass about your plan. And Gary's dad is like, excuse me. And his sister in the background is just like gasping for air at this point. She's like, what drama am I witnessing right now? And Sam's like, listen, have I seemed moody lately, withdrawn? And Gary's sister just goes, wow. And Sam's like, any occult fixations? And Gary's mom goes, what? And Sam says, let me guess, I'm amazing at Latin. And Gary's mom is like, you have an ear for languages. And Sam's like, any of the neighborhood pets go missing recently? And Gary's dad, deadpan, looks at him and goes, are you smoking drugs? And Gary's mom is like, Leonard, he's not smoking drugs. It's the way they said smoking drugs. Y'all, I could not breathe. It was so funny. Sam says, have any of you seen me with a book? It'd be old, leather bound, maybe some strange writing on it, or frankly, I'm probably hiding it. And then he steals bread off of Gary's mom's. Like, he literally reaches across and eats the toast off of her plate. And I was like, what in the hell, Sam? Why? Who does that? What the fuck? And then so I'm just like shook. I couldn't even put words together. Right?
That's the part you're scandalized by.
I was so scandalized by the fact that he stole her food from her plate. She made him a whole breakfast. He has never met this woman before in his life, and he's just like snatching food off her plate. He has an entire plate full of his own food, but he steals her bread. Okay? And then Gary's mom is like, Gary, no. And Sam's like, what? And Gary's mom is like, you're allergic to wheat gluten. This was where I wrote, at this point, I feel personally attacked. And then we cut to the toilet flushing and Sam coming out of the bathroom holding his stomach. Anybody else who has celiac disease, you know the pain. But it's so funny. And Gary's sister's waiting outside and Sam's just like, gluten. And I was like, yeah, tell me about it. And his sister says, you seriously sprung a leak. And I was like, yeah, literally. And Sam says, what? And Gary's sister is like, if mom and dad ever found out that creepy old book of yours, you'd be grounded for a decade. And you're bringing it up at breakfast. And Sam's like, so there is a book. Sydney, where do I keep it?
Oh, yeah. And I wrote Sydney, like in Scream.
Yeah.
So then we're back with Dean and Gary. Gary asks what they're doing. And Dean's like, the case. And Gary's like, oh, yeah, the case. Dean says that because he couldn't find anything about Maggie Briggs, they now have to do a tombstone roll to see if they can dig her up. Gary's like, oh, hey, I know her. And he tells Dean that her body is in the basement of Isaiah Pickett's house, which is the babysitter's house, isn't it?
Yep.
And Gary then basically tells Dean that there's the legend that he hung her, but he didn't really. And the real truth is that she was carrying his illegitimate child and he killed her and then buried her in the basement.
Typical man.
And yeah, and Dean was like, oh, the murdered child. That would explain the scratches. How do you know all of this? And Gary says, oh, I've done all kinds of research on it. I mean, last night.
Yeah, he's like, trying to cover. What I thought was really interesting is like, how we joke about like Sam being the nerd in the series?
Yeah.
But he's this 6'4" like Hulk.
Yeah.
Right? And he's gorgeous. Gary is like what you would get if Sam actually was the nerd of the series. And that's a really funny dynamic in this episode.
Sam IRL.
Yeah, exactly.
So Dean's like, well, nice work, I guess. And then they get in the car. And Dean turns on the radio and it's like, rock song like Dean likes to listen to.
It is Bob Seger's Rock and Roll Never Forgets.
Yeah. And Gary's like, oh man, turn it up. And Dean says, seriously. And Gary's like, hell yeah. And Dean's face is like, okay, nice. And he turns the music up and they drive away. And I wrote, should have been a red flag, Dino.
Yeah, 100% should have been Dino.
That was the second time. He should have already guessed. Anyway. Yeah. So then Sam is now running like frantically around the high school, calling Dean again, leaving another message telling him that the guy next to Dean is not him and to check your freaking voicemail, damn it. And 2 students call after him and ask if he's okay. And so I wrote, one of them's April from Grey's Anatomy. And apparently she was playing a high school student, but she was going on 30 when this episode aired. That was a fun fact I found.
Fun fact.
But I feel like that's just most teenage shows.
Yeah. It's very true.
They ask him what happened last night and he says he just got drunk and it's not a big deal. He then asks what his locker number is and Trevor's like, are you still drunk? That was quite funny. And he looks at him like he's totally unhinged, which in fairness he is.
Sam says, yeah, I'm Gary. Gary is okay.
It's like, Sam, you're being very strange right now.
Yeah, 100%. It's amazing. And his friend is like, so we're referring to ourselves in the third person now?
Yeah, so he breaks into Gary's locker and finds the witchcraft book and says, oh no, Gary, this is a very, very bad book.
Yeah, it's so funny. Also, there were comic books in there, and I think they might have been Evil Ernie, but I didn't really have a chance to see the covers. So... Again, I am personally attacked. Like, he reads comic books. He likes dorky, nerdy things. He's got celiac disease. If you substituted, like, the satanic witchcraft for just straight witchcraft with no Satan in it, then you would have me. I am also asthmatic, fun fact. So, I'm a stereotype of myself.
All right, Gary. So we are then at Isaiah's house and Dean and Gary go into the basement and start looking around. And Gary says some teen shit. I wrote, were we really this cringy? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we probably were.
Yeah.
And yeah, what does he actually say? It's from Halo though.
Booyah! Master Chief is in the house, bizzatches. And Dean just goes, are you all right?
Because obviously he's like, this isn't Sam. Again, yeah. Dean. Come on.
Dean's so dumb. I love him so much, but he's a himbo. I literally wrote, if Dean doesn't know that's not Sam, he truly is back to himbo. And I wrote himbo and screaming all capitals.
I'm trying to think whether they've ever mentioned they've played video games and stuff before, but I mean, they don't really have time,
They're
do they?
too poor,
Because they're
guys.
and they're like
too poor.
live in a car.
Yeah,
and they're always
there's no
hunting.
game station here.
That's why Sam reads so many books.
Exactly.
In fairness, he probably did before. So then Dean finds willow moss on the ground, and Gary's like, "Oh yeah, it's supposed to grow over witches' graves, right?" And Dean's like, "Yeah," because it's like you should know that already. And yeah, Dean, he should have another flag.
I wrote plant fact, not unless that grave is in a pond, because that is an aquatic plant. This is all a lie. The plant lore does not check out.
Doesn't check out.
Nope.
No. So then Dean takes out a shovel and starts digging up the grave. And Gary points a gun at Dean. And I didn't understand why he was going to do this. But also I wrote, if he was going to do it, why is he taking so long? He's literally holding it for so long. Dean's like digging away.
Yeah.
Like, if you're gonna if you're supposed to be killing him, Gary, just do it. Taking so long.
Yeah. I think his hesitation is supposed to show us that he has some sort of moral center somewhere buried way down there. So Gary says, "Hey man, I'm really sorry about this." And Dean's like, "Sorry about what?" But before he can shoot him, he gets knocked backwards and hits the wall. And Dean's like, "Sam!" And he rushes over to help Gary, and he's like, "Are you okay?" Which is really hilarious to us because we know Gary was literally about to kill him. And Gary's like, "Let's get the hell out of here." And Dean's like, "Wait, we still gotta burn the body, you idiot." So he then goes flying against a wall, and then we see the ghost of the accused witch, right? But she burns up as she's about to rush Dean, because we then we cut to Gary, who's like clearly lit her on fire. And there's flames coming out of the grave. And then Gary goes, "Dude, that was sweet." Like, this is just straight up reminded me of like, "Dude, where's my car?" Like, it was that kind of energy.
Yeah.
So Dean makes this like sarcastic, like, "Okay, weirdo" face.
He does.
And then we cut to Sam walking around school looking grumpy and awkward as fuck.
Yeah. And he's being followed by Gary's two friends, Nora and Trevor. And they ask where he's going, and he replies he has something to do. And Trevor asks why he's skipping class. And Sam says he isn't feeling like himself, literally. And Trevor says he can help, but Sam says he doesn't have time and turns to leave. And then Trevor shoots him with another tranquilizer dart. He's been tracked again.
He has, and I wrote, "The CGI dart is hilarious. They went full siege." It looks so fake.
And then we got to a bar, and Dean orders a burger, and Gary/Sam says that sounds good and orders one too. And Dean's like, "Okay, who are you and what have you done with Sam?" "Yes, Dean." I was like, he's finally worked it out, but no, he hadn't. He was joking.
No. Sad.
He was maybe kind of suspicious at this point, but he hasn't got there yet.
He's very pretty, but his upstairs is not for thinking.
Gary then says that they're celebrating and makes a toast, and he tells Dean that he's had a really awesome day. And Dean's like, "Okay, it's just a random D-list ghost hunt." And Gary's like, "What? Can't I be in a good mood?" And Dean starts to agree, but then he's like, "No, actually, it's not really your style." And my initial notes, I just wrote, "Lol, Sam's never in a good mood."
Grumpy Sam.
This is why I wrote, "Come on, Dean, get there quicker."
Yeah.
Oh dear.
That's what she said. And then Gary's talking to him and like relating to him. And well, not on purpose relating to him, but Gary says, "Well, it's a new me. Why shouldn't I be happy? I've got a gun. I'm getting drunk." And then he points to his face. "I look like this." I don't know. You ever feel like you've got your whole future being decided for you? And I was like, this is a clue when he's like, "I look like this." Sam would never say that.
No,
he would never.
exactly.
Dean, come on, switch on. So anyway, Dean's like, yeah, Sam, I feel like that a lot. And Gary's like, no matter how much you fight it, you can't stop the plan. The stupid, stupid plan. So I don't know. I guess it's just nice to do a little ass kicking for a change. That's all. You know what? I'm drunk. Sorry, just forget it. And Dean's like, no, it's all right. I'll drink to that. And then they laugh. And Dean's like, wow, is it just me or are we actually drinking together? And Gary's like, we don't do that often, huh? And Dean's like, you could say that. And Gary says, well, we should. You're a good guy, Dean. And Dean's like, oh, you are drunk. And that part made me laugh. And then the waitress comes back with her burgers. And Dean is like, oh, he goes Homer Simpson over a burger. It's so funny. And then Gary's like, yeah, no, but I mean it. You really are a good guy. And then he's like, the bread alone. And he's, and I wrote cries and celiac disease.
So then we cut to a little later and Gary has gone from the table and we see he's chatting up Crystal. So this is where he came in at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah.
And Dean watches them as they leave the bar. And he's definitely suspicious now from how he looks at him.
He's like,
still isn't quite getting it.
This is a weird decision. And this is where I wrote he did not read the Odyssey, himbo.
He's like, Dean must be thinking like, hang on, I'm normally the one that goes home with ladies.
Yeah. He's like, Sam. What do you mean? There's something not right here.
Yeah.
It's like the quizzical.
But he's still not understanding it.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, Dean. And then at Trevor's house, we see Sam tied up and Sam's like, hey, what's going on? And Trevor says no one can hear him as his parents are out of town. And he's on the phone and he gets through to Gary, who's in Crystal's bed. And Trevor asks if he's killed Dean yet.
And Sam's like, what? Wait, what do you mean kill Dean? And Gary's like building up to it on the other end. And Trevor says, look, Gary, we got problems here. For one, I'm looking at your body right now with this other dude in it. And Gary goes, what? So I don't know what they thought was going to happen to Sam. Like if they thought Sam would be dead and Gary would get the body forever. I don't know. Like maybe that was the initial plan. Just him possessing Sam.
Clear.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
So Trevor says, yeah, he's been in your house. He's been hanging out with your parents. And Gary's like, okay, just calm down. Whatever he says, no one's going to believe him, right? I mean, we're still good. And Trevor's like, will you just hurry up and kill the son of a bitch already, would you? And Gary's like, don't rush me. I'll do it. And Trevor's like, yeah, you better. And then we cut to Crystal's house. And Crystal is wearing like some dominatrix, sexy fun times outfit. And I was like, good for you. And Gary goes, gotta go. And then he's like, oh man, I am in way over my head.
Yeah, you think, Gary?
I laughed so hard. And then we cut back to Trevor's parents' house. And Trevor's like, I don't think he's going to do it. And her name's Nora, right?
Yeah.
It just says teenage girl at this point.
Yeah, I decided to give her actual name.
Yeah, helpful. Yeah.
Because the transcript didn't.
Oh, yeah. Why does Trevor have a name, but Nora doesn't? Sexist.
Exactly.
So, Nora says, just relax. This is Gary we're talking about. And Sam's like, what the hell is going on here? How do you know who Dean is? And Trevor's like, everybody knows Dean. He's hell's most wanted. Mm-hmm. My man is an overachiever, you guys. He's so awesome. He's hell's most wanted.
I think he'd kind of like, because he'd sing the John Bon Jovi song again.
Yeah, wanted.
Yeah.
Wanted. Dead or alive. Yeah. So, again, the musical autism. So Trevor explains that part and Sam's like, oh, no. Have you idiots been talking to demons? And Trevor's like, oh, right, we're the idiots. And Sam's like, you're just kids. You have no idea what you're messing with. And Trevor's like, well, we know there's a price on Dean's head and we're the ones that are going to collect it. And Sam's like, what is that supposed to mean? And at this point, I was kind of like, Sam, I feel like that's kind of explanatory, but okay. And Nora says, about a month ago, we were down here. And Trevor goes, Nora. And Nora's like, what? We're not allowed to talk about him? We were down here goofing around with that book. And Trevor's like, I wouldn't exactly call praying to our dark overlord goofing around, Nora.
What, Trevor?
Shut up, Trevor.
Yeah.
Nora actually says, don't be a loser, Trev. And I was like, and Sam goes, yeah, Trev. And I was like, So Nora says, anyway, all of a sudden the lights flickered and Gary went into this weird trance. He closed his eyes, picked up a pencil and drew this. And then there's this perfect drawing of Dean, basically.
It's a perfect drawing. It's like, who is this person? Was it one of those like police artists? what are they called? The
sketch artists.
Sketch artists, that's one.
Yeah. So Trevor says, you know what's really weird? Gary can't draw. And I was like, such a stupid line. So Nora said he heard a voice in his head and the demons were putting out a bounty on this guy. And Sam's like, a bounty? And Nora says, yeah, like every witch or Satanist across the whole country. But Gary's the one who spotted you. And Sam's like, and the Freaky Friday crap? Which we have to have a Freaky Friday reference. And there it is. Nora says, another spell from the book, Gary's idea. Go in Trojan horse style. He's really smart. And Trevor's like that as if he has the bean bags to go through with it, which is clearly Trevor being a dick and jealous because Nora's not into him and she's into weedy little Gary. Trevor's so mad. Sam says, listen to me. You're making a terrible mistake. We're talking about a demon deal, killing somebody. This isn't a game. You're crossing a line you can't come back from. Believe me. And he looks at them like, believe me in all of my trauma and my traumatic backstory that you don't know about, but I'm clearly traumatized. And Nora looks at Trevor like, oh, fuck. He's making sense. And Trevor's like, what? And she's like, nothing. And he goes, Nora, don't tell me you're actually listening to this jerk. And Nora's like, I don't know, maybe. I mean, what if he has a point? And Trevor's like, I don't believe this. First Gary, now you. I can't. You know what? Fine. You want something done right? And Nora's like, what are you going to do? You're going to kill your dean yourself, tough guy? And Trevor's like, I don't have to. I can do this. And then he holds up the demon summoning book. And she's like, you cannot be serious right now. And Trevor's like, I'm calling up one of these bad boys, putting these punks over and getting paid dollar bills, y'all. And he says it exactly. It's so cringy. Like, it is like the worst cringe of all time.
Really bad. I wrote in my notes, Trevor is clearly one of those guys who's never been held accountable for his actions ever and thinks he's invincible. You know, a knob.
Yeah. So Sam tells him it's a horrible idea, and Trevor's like, no one asked you. And then we cut to the motel room at night, and Gary's entering super quietly, clearly sneaking. And
sneaky. What was the sneaky murder snake?
The sneaky murder rope. Yeah. Dean looks to be asleep under the blankets on one of the beds, right? So Gary picks up the gun and aims it at the bed. And the camera pans around to reveal Dean's outline in the shadows off to his left and super fucking menacing. And Gary turns, sensing Dean, and goes to point the gun at him. But Dean knocks the gun away and punches Gary, then grabs Gary by the collar so his face is right over Gary. And he says, you're not Sam. Who the hell are you? And I wrote, ultimate thirst trap.
Yeah. I wrote, wow, it took you long enough, Dean, but you're a thirst trap, so I'll let you off.
He's a himbo. He's a pretty boy, but he is not always. He's so fucking smart. At times. This was not one of those times.
At times. I like that pause there. That was good. He's so smart. At times.
So Gary goes, ow! Like, he's outraged. It's like, Gary, funny. You were about to murder him. Like, such a little bitch. So then we cut to Trevor's parents' house. And Trevor has got all the summoning rituals ready to go. And Sam's like, don't do this. I'm begging you. And Nora's come around and she's like, I think he's right. And Trevor's like, hey, you want to go to Vassar, don't you? And I was like, oh my God, shut up. And Sam's like, please stop. And then he keeps doing the spell though. And he's like, you're going to get us all killed.
Yeah. Summoning demons willy-nilly. Why does he think he's going to get money though? Like, demons lie.
He's a rich, entitled kid. So he's used to getting exactly what he demands. What he wants. Right? He's a rich white kid. He has no sense of consequences or danger here. So he says, ad legendum eos periter, eos coram me. And nothing happens. And I was like, heh. And I looked up the translation. And apparently it basically means to bind them equally likewise. Or to bring them before me. So he's literally summoning the demon.
Which you just did.
Supposed to
You just read it out loud.
Everyone's haunted now. You're welcome. So it's supposed to bind and bring entities forth. And he's like, maybe I said it wrong. And then, but he turns and Nora's out. She's down. And he goes, he says her name and he goes to touch her shoulder. And Sam goes, no, don't touch her. And Trevor's like, Nora, are you okay? And Nora has black eyes now.
Uh-oh.
And she says, oh yeah, I'm peachy. And I wrote, she's a great actress.
She's so good. Yeah,
she's so amazing. Good. So then she says, So what'd you call me here for, Skippy? Unless it's dinner time. And then she looks at him like she's considering eating him, which is great. And Trevor says, what? We have Dean Winchester. And she's like, you do? Where? And Sam says, Trevor, keep your mouth shut. And Trevor's like, the Cloverleaf Motel over on Route 6, because he's such an idiot. And Nora is like, Sam, is that you in there? And she laughs and she's like, well, aren't you just 98 pounds of nothing? Sam says the kid is a moron. He doesn't have any idea where Dean is. And Nora's like, so if Sam's in this body, who's in Sam's? And Trevor's like, a dangerous warlock named Gary.
Yeah, okay, mate.
It's one of my favorite lines ever. Because he goes, a dangerous warlock. And then he goes, named Gary.
Named Gary. It was giving like the, what are they called? The Ghost Hunter guys.
The Ghost Facers.
Yeah, it's giving he's giving Ghost Facers vibe.
We face a ghost that others will not. Ghost Facers. Yeah. It is very much that kind of vibe. So Nora says, you mean to tell me you've got Dean Winchester and Sam Winchester's meat suit? An empty vessel just waiting to be filled, and you're handing them both over to me? And Trevor's like, yeah, I guess. And Nora's like, wow, I gotta hand it to you. I'm impressed. And Trevor says, thanks. So if you don't mind my asking, there's a reward? And Nora says, sure, my undying gratitude. And Trevor, who cannot take a fucking hint, says, what, are you serious? And Sam's like, be quiet, you idiot. And Nora says, consider yourself lucky, kid. And Trevor's like, wait a minute. We worked our asses off over here, and I want my reward. And Nora looks at him, and he's like, please? Because it's like there's a sense of something, but he's still too stupid to realize. And she's like, okay, I'm sorry, you're right. What can I get you? And he's like, how about $1 million? And Sam's like, oh, for God's sake, Trevor, just shut up and run. And the demon's like, $1 million doesn't buy you much these days. Why not make it 10? And Trevor's like, okay, 10 mil. And I want Mindy Schwartz to fall in love with me.
Yeah.
And obviously. Nora's like, love, money.
Love.
Sticking to the basics. I can respect that, but here's my counter. And then she drives her hand into his chest and rips his heart out.
Yeah, and he deserved it.
Then she licks her hand and she's like, yep, tastes like moron.
That was funny.
So funny. So then we cut back to the motel room and Dean is finally listening to his voicemail. And the voicemail is like, you have 38 messages. And then you just hear Sam going, this is going to sound crazy, really crazy, but I think I'm in the wrong body. Dean, the guy right next to you is not me. Dean, check your friggin' voicemail. Damn it. And then Dean's like, all right, pal, either you start talking or I start waterboarding. And Gary's like, oh my God, please don't hurt me. Please. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And Dean's like, hey, pull it together, champ. And Gary goes, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. And Dean's like, where's Sam? And Gary says, in my friend's basement. His parents are out of town. I keep being like, his parents are out of town. Dean's like, parents? How old are you? And Gary goes, 17. Dean's like, 17, huh? And then he suddenly goes flying backwards into this lamp. Falls to the ground, knocked out. Gary turns and we see Nora the demon is there. And he's like, Nora? And her eyes turn black and she goes, not at the moment. And
that was creepy.
It was so creepy and so good. Then we come back to Sam, who is trying frantically to get out of the ropes. And then he's like, damn it. And then we cut back to the motel room where Dean is knocked out. And Nora unties Gary and says, boy, you earned your dessert tonight, kiddo. Tell me, what is it you want? Anything. And Gary's like, anything? And Nora's like, lay it on me. And Gary says, I want to be a witch for real and really powerful. And she's like, good choice. I get it. No daddy, no MIT, no plan. You get to be big and strong and no one can tell you what to do anymore. There's just one small formality first. You got to meet the boss. And Gary's like, the boss? And Nora's like, your satanic majesty or whatever the kids are calling it these days. Gary's like, the devil? And Nora's like, uh-huh. And Gary's like, no. Okay. It's okay. I don't really want to bother him. And Nora's like... Nora's like, oh, but he's going to want to meet you. Relax. It'll be easy. He's just going to ask you one little question, and all you got to do is say yes. And then you get your reward. And I'm thinking to myself, obviously, he's going to be dead then. So that's fun. Dean suddenly swings at Nora with a knife. She catches his arm, throws him to the ground, and kicks him. Dean looks at Gary, and Gary says, Exorciamus te ominous immundus. And Nora's like, what was that? Because he's saying it really quietly. And Gary goes,
sneaky exorcism.
Nothing. Yeah, I read it loud, but Gary says it like Exorciamus te ominous immundus. And she's like, what? And he goes, nothing. And she's like, were you trying to exorcise me, you little piece of crap? And then she grabs him by the throat and lifts him off the ground. And Dean, who has never remembered this in his life, magically remembers Spiritus omnis satanica potestas. And Nora releases Gary and turns back to Dean. And Gary goes, Ominus incursio infalis adversary. And Dean says, Omnius congregato. And Gary says, Et secta diabolica. And Dean says, Ergo Draco maledicta. And Gary says, Ecclesium tuum securi tibi facius libertate servire. And Dean says, Te regamos, adios, bitch. And Gary goes, it's Adonos.
Adios, bitch.
And all I could think about when I was reading this was there's that meme that went around a while ago that was like, it was like a picture of Donald Trump and all of the current American administration. It was like, okay, but have we tried saying the exorcism as a group in front of and just see what happens? You know, has anyone thrown salt at the American government? And so I was like, you know what, guys, if you want me to read it, then we could practice it on the podcast and someone could maybe play it loudly and we could just see if suddenly the world gets better.
Also, Joy, did you see, so the demon dust leaves her. Did you see where it went?
Into the vent, of course.
It went into a vent because that's where demon dust always goes.
Yep, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, she was really scary as the demon when she got angry. Like, she was really good.
She was amazing.
She was like the best part of this episode.
She's definitely up there, 100%. Yeah, my notes literally say, have we tried exorcising America?
Just the whole country.
Just the whole country. I'm just saying, like, this podcast goes to 35 countries. I feel like if we read it all together with heart, maybe we could exorcise my entire country. Could be a plan. Get back to me, guys. Tell me in the comments. So we cut to Trevor's parents' house, and Nora's sitting on the bed wrapped in a robe, and Dean's watching Gary, who's sitting opposite Sam with the spell ingredients between them. And Gary says, Anime dominum ridantent, fas atque nefas instatur, potestate in actor forate, sic fiat. And then he drops the powder into the bowl between him and Sam. And anybody who actually speaks Latin knows how terribly I pronounced all of that last part. I am sorry, but also I did not have the money for a private education, unlike some people, so it's not my fault. So when the light dies down, they've swapped bodies and they're back in their right bodies. And Sam looks at himself in a mirror and Dean's like, so are we good? And Sam's like, yeah, we're good. Oh man, it's nice to be back. And I was thinking, you know how season 1 Sam's kind of built a little bit like Gary?
Yeah.
Like in the very first, and then he works really hard to become the tank that we know about, the moose, if you will. That part made me laugh so hard because of that. Because like literally season 1 Sam is so small. So small. And season 5 Sam is Arnold Schwarzenegger. So when he's like, it's good to be back, that made me laugh so hard. And Gary's like, yeah, awesome. And Dean says, so Gary. And Gary's like, I know, my bad. And he goes, my bad, kid, my bad ain't gonna cut it. See, if you were of voting age, you'd be dead because we would kill you. So either you straighten up and fly right or we will kill you. Are we clear? And Gary goes, Crystal, which is funny because that was the name of that woman. And Dean says, good. Yeah. The Impala pulls up outside Gary's parents' house, and Sam, Gary, Dean, and Nora get out. And Gary goes, crap. And Sam says, Gary, take it from somebody who knows. Chin up, man. Your life ain't that bad. And Gary says, you met my parents. And Sam's like, yeah, so what? It's your life. You don't like their plan for you? Tell them to cram it. Rebel a little. in a healthy, non-satanic way, of course. By the way, you know why Nora's into witchcraft? And Gary's like, what do you mean? And Sam's like, she doesn't like Satan, you moron. She likes you. Gary goes, really? You think? And Sam's like, yeah, I know. I'm telling you, kid. I wish I had your life. And Gary says, you do? Thanks. And Sam says, get out of here.
During this whole scene, like, it's raining as well, and Sam is, I just wrote, he's windswept and hot.
He is windswept and hot. Fun fact. Dean says that was a nice thing to say, and Sam says, I totally lied. The kid's life sucked ass. All that apple pie family crap, it's stressful. Trust me, we didn't miss a damn thing. And Dean says, or we don't know what we're missing. And then he starts the
Dean does want a family.
Yeah, I know. I love him so much. I just want to give him a hug.
Yeah.
And the same song came on that was playing earlier, and Sam says, oh, come on, man, turn it down. And Dean does, and he's like, welcome back, Cotter.
I didn't understand that reference. Did you get that reference?
I didn't either.
I found this because I didn't think either of us would know. I think we were too young. So it says, at the end, when Sam has returned to himself, he tells Dean to turn the rock music down. Dean says, welcome back, Cotter. He's referencing the show Welcome Back, Cotter from 1975. The teacher, Mr. Cotter, was often a spoil sport for his students' shenanigans, just as Sam is spoiling Dean's fun. So that was what that reference was.
He's calling him a grumpy old man. That tracks.
Yeah.
Tracks. Shall we play games, Laura?
Yeah.
Okay.
Villain, hot or not?
I wrote not applicable.
Yeah, and no. Scare rating.
I feel like we're going to have wildly different answers based on the sound that you just made.
Well, I don't think it was scary. I just thought Nora's demon was scary. So I gave it a 5.
I gave it a 9.5.
Oh my God.
I wrote, it's actually terrifying when the demon is so close to having Sam and Lucifer. And like the world did not end, but it came so close to ending. Like actually, it was hanging by a thread.
Yeah, I suppose.
Like legitimately, the world was fucked. Okay. And it's only not fucked because Gary at the last minute was like, yeah, I guess I'll read some Latin.
Yeah, Gary's stupid.
Stupid Gary.
Yeah. Favorite quotes.
A great and powerful warlock called Gary. Dean saying, oh, you shake it up, baby. And then the scene where Gary's like, exorciamus te ominous amundus. And Nora's like, what was that? And Gary goes, nothing. And she's like, were you trying to exorcise me, you little piece of crap? And then Dean be like, spiritus ominous satanica potestas. And then Nora turns back to Dean. And then Gary's like, ominous, incursio, infernus, adversary. And the whole thing all the way down to when he's like, it's Adanos.
Adios, bitch. I had, one leather jacket, one Sasquatch.
That was amazing.
And I had, tastes like moron.
That one's great too.
They're the only two I had.
I also really liked, I would love to have the sex with you. It's so cringy, but it's so funny.
The sex. Thirst traps.
Thirst traps. I have Sam in the mirror flexing when he's like, when Gary's like, ooh, ah. But obviously it's Jared being like, doing all the flexing. I was just like, oh my days. That's the hottest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And then Dean punching Gary and grabbing him and shouting, where's Sam? That was also.
Oh yeah, I had that one. Yeah.
A wild thirst trap. Love those.
Mm-hmm. I had that one, and then I had Dean when he shouts Sam, when he it's Gary, but he thinks it's Sam, when he gets flung against the basement, when he does
Sam!
Yeah. Then Dean punching Gary when he realised he isn't Sam, and windswept, rainy Sam at the end.
That's fair. Those are all very valid. MVP?
MVP? Well, I put, is it Dean for finally working it out, and then loads of question marks, and then fixing it, but it took him a while though.
Yeah. I wrote Sam ? It took Dean like a year to realize what was going on.
Yeah, I don't think, can we are we allowed to not have an MVP?
The thing is, right, is I think that technically it would be Sam / Gary, because Gary gives Dean the idea for the exorcism, without which they appear to be fucked at that point, honestly. So I'm going to say no, we don't have to have one, because I refuse to give it to Gary.
Yeah, I refuse to give it to Gary. I suppose we could just give it to Dean for being the one that does the exorcism. But,
I'll give it to Dean for being super hot.
We'll just give it to Dean as a consolation prize.
I'm giving it to Dean out of hotness. She's giving it to Dean out of pity. He had a real hard day.
And I didn't really notice them until I just put standard, nothing to write home about, 3.
I wrote 5 stars. I love the wallpaper. It looks really cool.
What was the wallpaper?
It was really pretty. It was like a paisley pattern.
Okay.
I think. It was like red and dark, and the whole room looked slightly witchy and gothic, so I really liked it. I'm sorry that it wasn't a disco ball, Laura.
Or the big daisy one. I liked that
one.
The
giant daisy. Yeah. Oh, I forgot. I have somehow a couple of my quotes ended up down at the bottom. I said one of them. One of the ones that I didn't say was, "A banana daiquiri, my good man."
That was funny.
And then, "You are just a stunning looking man." I know, right?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah. And that's the episode, friends.
Yeah. See, it ended up being quite a funny episode, but that was us making it funny. I still don't think it was that great.
Guys, write it in the comments and tell me if you agree with me, you think this episode is hilarious, or if you agree with Laura and you don't think it's a great episode, but you think that the podcast episode was hilarious.
It was funnier than I remember, but I think it was you making it funny.
Thanks. I've got to ditch this laugh on the podcast. Oh my god.
It's our 100th episode coming up. What's this one? Hang on. Is this 98 or 99? 98. So in a couple of episodes' time, we'll have our 100th episode special episode thing that we're doing.
With all your feet.
With all my feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have fun. We're just going to play some games. Joy's going to read my astrology chart.
I'm going to tell her how compatible she is with Sam.
Yeah. We'll have some mailbag stuff.
Yeah.
We might have some other stuff that we haven't thought of yet.
Yep. So if you want to be part of it, make sure that you keep an eye out for our stories on Instagram, because a lot of our mailbag comes from story replies on Instagram as well as DMs and stuff. But a lot of the topics that I pick, I put in our stories, and they're open to replies. So if you want to participate, that's a really great way to participate really easily. You can, of course, write into our email address, which you're going to hear in the outro in like a second. So you can, of course, always write in the email, and like I said before, just put mailbag in the subject, or 100th episode in the subject. You can share scary stories, times when, like, if you have a haunted story that would be fun for the 100th episode. If you have notes on the podcast, if you're like, oh, this was my favorite episode of the podcast, or I really like this episode, or anything like that, like, that's obviously lovely to have on a 100th episode. It would be great to have your feedback, and so much fun to have like a bit back and forth. So yeah, just anything that you guys think of that you think would be good for the 100th episode, go ahead and write in.
Yeah. And we will look forward to reading those out.
Catch you guys in the next one. That's it for now. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in. If you like this episode, please rate, review, and subscribe. We would be very grateful. And if you know someone who would enjoy it, please share.
You can find us on Instagram at the Witches of Letters podcast, or you can email us at thewitchesofletters@gmail.com.
Until next time, stay safe out there, have each other's backs, and always keep fighting.